I don't think it affected me, honestly. I felt like I got good shots, they just didn't go down, and obviously a tough time for that to happen. Like I got some really good looks. I felt I had three pretty wide open threes in the first half. Better than I usually do, which is a positive, but overall, like, Coach said in the locker room, like, we were down 3 the first quarter, down 5 second quarter, and then lost by 3 in the third. Like,
Caitlin Clark's playoff dream just turned into a nightmare. The Fever's superstar went from hero to zero, shooting a painful 2 of 13 from deep. What happened to the sharpshooter we know? Let's break down this shocking collapse and see if there's any hope left for Indiana. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You know what's crazy? Before the game, the arena was buzzing with excitement. Fans were ready to see Clark work her magic. But as the game went on, you could feel the energy drain out of the building.
we struggled to get stops at times, but also, like, the clock getting messed up, like, it was just one thing after the next. But, yeah, overall, like, it didn't bother me.
It was like watching a balloon slowly deflate. This isn't how the story was supposed to go, right? Clark was meant to be the hero, leading the Fever to victory. Instead, she stumbled hard. It's like someone flipped the script on her fairy tale. So what went wrong, and who stepped up when our hero faltered? Let's talk about it and see if we can make sense of this mess. Picture this. Clark steps onto the court, ready to dominate, but instead of magic, we got tragic. Her shots clank, her passes miss, and suddenly our superstar looks human? What flipped the switch from unstoppable to unwatchable? The answer might surprise you. You see, Clark's biggest opponent wasn't wearing the other team's jersey. It was the invisible pressure of the playoffs. That's right, the same fire that fueled her incredible season turned into a raging inferno that consumed her game. Let's break it down. Clark went 2 for 13 from deep. That's not just bad, that's painful to watch. It's like seeing Superman trip over his own cape. But here's the thing, it wasn't just her shots that weren't falling. The entire Fever team caught whatever bug she had. You know what's wild? Clark and Aaliyah Boston, who usually run the pick and roll like a well-oiled machine, suddenly forgot how to play together. It's like they showed up to a dance competition and forgot all their moves. But it gets crazier. The Fever's first half? It was like watching a team sleepwalk through a game. No energy, no hustle, nothing. Some folks are pointing fingers at the coaching, but let's be real. When your star player is struggling, it's hard for anyone to shine. Here's where it gets interesting. Clark's off night didn't just affect her stats. It was like a virus spreading through the team. The Fever's morale?
I think, they were going to make adjustments. They were going to change up their schemes. They were going to change the matchups. We had talked about getting back the matchups that we wanted, that we thought would be helpful for us.
Gone. Their gameplay, a mess. It was like watching a house of cards collapse in slow motion. But hold up, before you write off Clark completely, let me tell you something. Even in this disaster of a game, there were moments where you could see the fighter in her. A clutch play here, a rally attempt there. It wasn't enough to turn the tide, but it showed that even on her worst day, Clark still got that fire. You want to know the craziest part? This is all part of the journey. Every great player has had their playoff meltdown. It's like a rite of passage. The question is, how will Clark bounce back? While Clark struggled, another player was writing her own fairy tale. But could this Cinderella story have a dark side? Marina Mabrey stepped into the spotlight, and what happened next shocked everyone. You know what's wild? As Caitlin Clark's game crumbled, Marina Mabrey rose from the ashes like a phoenix. She didn't just play well, she played like she was possessed by the basketball gods themselves. We're talking 27 points, 9 of 20 shooting, and a blistering 5 of 12 from downtown. That's not just good, that's call the fire department hot. Let's break this down for a second. While Clark was struggling to find her rhythm, Mabrey was out there looking like a human torch.
I agree with what Caitlin just said. We scored 69 points, and when we go back and watch this, I didn't really say much because I want to go back and watch and just kind of see. But I think we just, these guys are going to shoot the ball a lot better on Wednesday.
Every time she touched the ball, you could feel the energy in the arena shift. felt. It was like watching a superhero origin story in real time. But here's where it gets interesting. Mabrey's rise didn't happen in a vacuum. It's like the universe decided to balance the scales. As Clark's star dimmed, Mabrey's burned brighter than ever. You know what they say? One player's trash is another player's treasure, or something like that. Now, I'm not saying Mabrey stole Clark's mojo, but you gotta wonder, is there only room for one star to shine at a time? It's like they were playing cosmic basketball seesaw. When Clark went down, Mabrey went up, and boy did she go up high. Think about it, Mabrey wasn't just scoring, she was making plays that had jaws dropping all over the arena. It was like she was playing NBA 2K with cheat codes. Every three-pointer she sank felt like a dagger in the Fever's playoff dreams. But here's the million-dollar question, can Mabrey keep this up? I mean, she played like her life depended on it. But in the WNBA, one great game doesn't make a legend. It's all about consistency. Can she bring this fire to the next game, or was this her one shining moment? And what about Clark? You know she's watching those game tapes, gritting her teeth, planning her comeback. This isn't just about one game anymore. It's about pride, about legacy, about who's got the stuff to be a true WNBA great. Clark's struggle is just the tip of the iceberg. The Fever's problems run deeper than one star player having an off night. What if I told you the team's biggest enemy was wearing a suit on the sidelines? Let's talk about the Fever's performance. It wasn't just Clark who dropped the ball. The whole team was playing like they forgot how basketball works. They shot 6 of 28 from three-point range. That's not just bad. That's painful to watch. It's like they were aiming for the parking lot instead of the hoop. And don't even get me started on their defense. It was like they were allergic to guarding anyone. The commentator said it best. That first half was very sluggish. It was ugly. Ugly is right. It was like watching a slow motion car crash. Now, here's where things get spicy. Coach Christie Sides? She was standing there like a statue while her team was burning. You know what coaches are supposed to do when the other team's on a scoring run? Call a timeout. But nope, she just stood there. The commentator nailed it. She swallowed her ability to take a timeout when the other team's on a run. But wait, it gets worse. When your shots aren't falling, you gotta change it up. Drive to the basket, mix things up. But the Fever, they kept chucking up threes like they were playing a game of catch. It's basketball 101, people. And get this. Lexi Hall, who's a beast from three-point range, averaging 48%, only took 2 shots the entire game. 2. It's like having a Ferrari and only driving it to the end of your driveway. You want to know the craziest part? This team hasn't been the same since they clinched their playoff spot. It's like they thought, great, we made it, time to take a vacation. The fire, the hunger, it's all gone. The commentator hit the nail on the head. This team has not played with fire since they clinched the playoffs. So, what's the deal? Is this just a bad day at the office, or are we watching a team implode? And let's be real, how long can Coach Sides keep her job if this keeps up? The commentator didn't pull any punches. This team's going to have to find a new coach eventually. All right, let's talk about what's next for the Fever. This game was a disaster, but it's not the end of the world. Remember, even the greats have bad days. The question is, can Clark and the team bounce back? Here's the thing. Clark's not going to shoot this badly every game. She's too good for that. But the Fever's problems go deeper than just one player. Coach Sides needs to light a fire under this team, and fast. So what would you do if you were the coach? How do you get a superstar back on track and wake up a team that's sleepwalking through the playoffs? It's not just about Clark. It's about getting everyone to play like their careers depend on it. This could be the end of the road for the Fever, or it could be the start of an epic comeback story. Only time will tell.